Welcome to the Sherri Johnson Show, the podcast for real estate agents who are ready to stop chasing their next deal and start building a business that provides predictable and consistent monthly income to even double or even triple your income and sales production in less than a year. I'm Sherri Johnson, international real estate coach, speaker, consultant, and the creator of the exclusive Goldmine Pipeline Strategy that's helped thousands of agents add over 6 figures to even 7 figures to their bottom line. If you're ready to generate more leads, crush your income goals, and finally play the long game, you're in the right place. Let's dig in. And we are back at the Sherri Johnson Show podcast. I'm Sherri Johnson, your host. I'm so excited for today's guest, a very special friend I've met in the last probably 2 or 3 years, Mitch Ribak of Cocoa Beach, Florida, and a wildly successful real estate broker owner, one of the largest EXP organizations in the country. We are going to talk about all kinds of things today. Welcome to the show, Mitch. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm very excited about this. It's always fun to do this with you. Yes.
Well, from the day I met you, we just connected on such a level because we were both like, we just know, we know. You wrote we're going to talk about it in our whole conversation. You had an independent brokerage for years. I want you to tell the story. The cost, expense. Actually, I love how you talk about in your book, The Big Lie, the journey, the real estate journey. Would you share with folks how that went from being a solo agent to a team to a brokerage and where you are today?
Sure. And I wrote the book because of freedom. So let me tell you why the book happened first, because I think it's important. So I'm 65 years old. I know I look like I'm 25, but 65 years old.
No way.
And you know how every 10 years you analyze your life? So I did that at 60. And
Okay.
I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've owned 27 companies, worked 100 hours a week till I was 60. And at 60, I took my look at my life and I realized that I couldn't tell you 5 things I did with my kids. And that was powerful. It was really powerful. I went from 80 hours a week back then, maybe 70, 80 hours a week, down to 30 hours a week the next day. Like I realized, I'm like, what am I doing? Like I'm going to die soon. And I haven't had a life. And we're taught that as kids. And so in real estate, it's really interesting to me. I find real estate being the most interesting business of all the industries I've been in. I've been in 18 different industries. And the reason being, we're taught sell a lot of homes, right?
Right.
I did that. I sold 80 homes a year. Go me. Had no life, worked 100 hours a week. And then I started a team for leverage, which I always say that's the beginning of my babysitting journey. My production went down about 25%. And now I started babysitting. Because I was paying my broker 30%, I couldn't afford to run my team. So I started my own brokerage. And I actually had plans for 110 offices. My name of the company was Tropical Realty. And I had planned on opening all across the southern part of the United States, all the way to San Diego, all the ocean front. Tropical Realty, 110 offices was my original business plan. And when I started my brokerage, it took me, I said, I'm going to give myself 2 years. I'm known as the godfather of internet lead conversion. Everything lead conversion based you see today, I started 20 years ago. And ISAs, I started 20 years ago. Nobody else did that back then. I said, I'm going to work on my systems, get my business plan down with my systems, and then I'm going to open all these other offices. At the end of year 2, when I was supposed to start doing that, I said, hell no, this was a big mistake. Now, from the outside looking in, I'm the most successful broker in the world. Had 120 agents. We did 700 transactions a year, gross $4.5 million in revenue, and I netted about $100,000 a year. Right. Which, by the way, most brokers are working on 3 to 5%. You know that. I ran that brokerage for 13 years, not because I was making money, because of my ego. And my good friend Pete Middleton says, your ego is not your amigo. Right. And literally, because I was the guy, I was the president of our real estate board. Mitch Ribak, I drive nice cars because I had to be fancy, wore nice suits because I had to be fancy, because no one wants to join a broke person. So you put up this facade. And I did that for 13 years. And then EXP came to me. And, before EXP came to me, let me tell you the backstory. EXP, in 2016, I was 56 years old, looking in the mirror, which is my accountability tool that I use every day, and saying, what happens if I die? Because my dad died at 58, my mother died at 59. Almost all the men in my family died before the 60. I said, what happens if I die? The reality is, as broker, if you die, your business is over. You're done. My family gets absolutely nothing. So I went to sell the company. Got an offer from Remax and Century 21 for 3.5 million. Both offered me the same money. There's like 15 Remaxes here and only 2 Century 21. So I decided to negotiate with Century 21. That's when I found out the big lie about selling your brokerage. Because I had friends say, "Oh, I'm going to sell my brokerage." I go, "No, you're not." And
Right.
so they give you basically 15% the first year, 15% the second year, 70% the third year. However, that's all based at the third year on the retention of the
Right.
original agents. And I can't swear in here like but I said to these guys, but I said, let me get this straight. So you're offering me 3.5. If my agents hate Century 21, which by the way, we know most brokers have a 30% loss of agents every year, right?
Correct.
Right. So if I and they all and 50% leave, no matter how big I bring the brokerage. So if I build the brokerage to 500 agents, if my original agents half leave, my 3.5 goes down to 1.75. And they said, yeah. I go, well, that's the stupidest effing thing I've ever heard in my life. And I got up and walked out. I had met with EXP 3 times before this. I loved the model. I'm an entrepreneur. The model for EXP is an entrepreneur's dream. However, I'm the guy. I joined EXP. I'm just a guy. I'm not the guy. I'm a guy, just a guy, right? So I went
Yeah.
up to New York and met with Jason Gessing, who was the CEO at the time.
Oh,
And he didn't want to meet with me, actually. I found out that we're very good friends. He's an investor in my telecompanies. Um, and he didn't want to meet me because he knew I wasn't going to do it. At that point, I think the biggest brokerage joining was like 7 agents. And I had 65 at the time. I had fired 50 to lower my expenses. So anyway, so I said, look, the hardest part for me is I built Tropical Realty, a powerhouse brand. I know we're not making any money, but it's a great brand. He goes, well, just keep your brand. Like, what are you talking about? It's just be Tropical Realty brokered by EXP. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that 2 years ago when we had our first meeting? I would have joined 2 years. That was what held me back. So I would have joined when there was 400 agents instead of 2,800 agents. But anyways,
oh my gosh.
right?
You're kidding me.
No, when I first started, there was 400 agents. Like, and my thing was, I have 25%. You only have, I'm 25. My brokerage is 25% of your whole company. So anyway, so
Wow.
we switched over. And we lost a few people during the switch. Again, nobody had heard of EXP. There was only 50 agents in Florida. Now we have 10,000.
There were only, when you first talked to EXP, there were 400 agents.
No, first time there's 400 agents. Yeah.
Yeah.
2000,
And
I think 15, might have been 14.
I met Jason. I had dinner
Yeah.
with Jason Gessing.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a
Jason's a
great guy.
great guy. He's a
Yeah,
good
I
friend
met
of
him
mine.
in Ohio with Dave Best.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
So
you,
anyway, so we did that. And then, I'm not going to tell you, they didn't know how to handle me because they'd never had a brokerage like me join. Now we've had brokerages, hundreds. They had 300 brokerages join last year, right? So brokers join all the time because brokers won't tell you this, but they're all dying on the vine. They're all miserable. They hate their lives. They do what I did. They tell themselves a big lie that I love what I'm doing. And they do love parts of it. They love the coaching agents and helping. I love that part. That's why I still coach agents, right? But anyway, so it took me within about 18 months to hit my freedom number. My expenses went from $65,000 down to $15,000. And
wow.
now here we are 9 years later. I have 2,200 agents in my organization. I live a life of freedom. I am a phenomenal husband, a pretty good dad, but I'm a wicked awesome grandfather. Which
Yes,
is
you
way more
are.
important. And
Yes.
I work 25 hours a week and manage 3 companies. So that experience brought me to where I am today, where I'm teaching other realtors who are high producing team leaders and brokers how to create freedom because real estate is probably the worst business I've ever been in. I owned a restaurant before. It's worse than a restaurant, being
You're
a broker.
kidding.
Yeah. So that's
That
a
says a
little
lot.
history there. Yeah, that's the story.
Well, I remember the story about, you could have sold, like, people are probably like, great, you could have sold your company for 3.5 million. And as you said, with breakage, the payout is not immediate and there is a payout. I was on the other end acquiring companies, so I know exactly how that model works because I was buying, helping buy companies, not a ton of them, but I was on many. And you get down to, it is a big lie. And I think the shift has already been happening for years. EXP has 89,000 agents today in like almost 40 countries. There is something that's happening. So, you described, a lot of people listening to this may not even know what the model is. Why do you think agents are attracted, whether they're solo agents or teams? I want to make this statement too. The top 250 agents at EXP, whether they're team leader or a solo agent, last year sold about 91,000 transaction sides, the
Right.
same as some companies who have, 12,000 agents. So would be the sixth largest real estate company, just our 250. With the number one in transaction sites. Why do people choose EXP, and what's the number? Like, what do you think the top maybe 3 or 4 pillars are of that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. So one is proximity. So, and I love that word. It's just a cool sounding word, right?
Yes.
But I'll give you an example. I get $1,500 an hour for coaching.
Yeah.
I haven't charged an EXP agent a penny, and I coach them all the time, and I don't care. So part of it's because we're public, that we all help each other. Part of it's because we do have an organization, and as I said, I have 2,200 agents, and my goal is to help them sell more homes. The more homes they sell, the more money I make. Right? I don't have the overhead that I had when I had my brokerage. I don't have the liability I had when I had my brokerage. I don't have the stress. Nobody calls me. Nobody. I used to get 10 to 15 calls a day. I get maybe 3 a week. Like this week,
And
I've
that
had one.
Yeah, and I think too, because the model, the EXP model, which is so brilliantly put together by Glenn Sanford, the founder, is that all of the tasks, right? If you're a manager listening to this, you're running an office, you've never been really paid for recruitment or attraction the right way, right? I mean, you don't even get paid for it. You get paid on metrics that are out of your control, expenses, net profit. At the end of the day, someone else is managing that P&L. Very frustrating for managers. I've coached companies all over the country. So you look at if you're a broker owner or a team leader and your expenses are ridiculously high, EXP's model is built that the day-to-day operations are managed by the state broker team, right? So could you just describe what that is to someone who has no idea what that is?
Yeah, so I'll use Florida. So we have 14 brokers in Florida. I think we have 70 staff. We go to the EXP world, which I'll be honest with you, I almost didn't join because of that. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't know what an avatar was, right? I'm
right,
65
right.
years old. Even my kids who are in their 40s, they didn't have avatars. My grandkids have avatars. And,
Yes.
but I will tell you on the support side, because it's one of the first questions that people ask me about support. And I will take them into the broker room. Generally within 30 seconds or less, somebody will say, "Hey, Mitch, how can I help you?" And then 30 seconds later, I'm in front of a broker. And within 2 minutes, I walk away with my answer. It's unbelievable. We have 2,500 employees that all live in there to serve us.
And I've been told by people who have joined with me that they get a faster response in EXP world than they ever have in a brick and mortar setting where their manager isn't even in the office,
Yeah.
let alone answering the phone.
Yeah. And you got to
So
remember, most brokers, like most of your brokerages aren't big brokerages. Most of your brokerages are 5 to 20 agents, right? Those brokers are selling full time because they have to.
they
I
have
talked to
to.
my ex-business partner, didn't switch to EXP, but she runs a 15 agent brokerage. She told me a couple weeks ago, we were just talking, she goes, "I have to work 6 months of the year full time to pay the bills." She goes, "I don't take a penny the first 6 months. I can't." Because her 15 agents, because remember, 15 agents really means 4 or 5, right?
Yep.
30%. So they get 4 or 5 agents doing revenue, and that's not doing big revenue, that's just doing revenue. And then the worst part, when I talk to my broker friends, about what they're doing. I said, "Isn't the best part about being a broker when you took on a brand new agent and then like 2 years later, they're like rocking and they're kicking butt. They're on a 60-40 split, so you're actually making money off them." And they say, "Got a minute? You're like the best mentor I ever had. You changed my life, but I'm leaving now. Bye."
That's right.
It's every brokerage. And
It's a
I did, we had a mastermind yesterday, in Nashville, Tennessee with 50 of my agents. And, and we were talking about, I was telling that story about how people leave. Everybody leaves. They quit. You fire them, they die or they retire. Everybody leaves. Right? And I said, out of 50 people, everybody raise your hand who's not with the original brokerage they came with. Every hand. There wasn't one person that was with the original brokerage when they got in real estate. So the reality is, whoever's listening, all your agents, no matter how loyal they are going to leave at some point. So I have a lot of friends of mine we talked about coming to EXP and joining us as brokers, and they don't want to do it because they're agents. "Well, I love my agents." I go, "Yeah, they only love you as much as you serve them, though. If you get incapacitated, like I said, if I die when I have my brokerage, all the vulture brokers around here will go after my agents and they'll be gone within a week. That's reality." So now I built this out, and anybody can do what I did. I am nothing special. It's a leverage play. Now that I built this out, the beauty of it is my wife is licensed. She does not sell homes. I will not let her sell homes. But if I die, she just steps into my spot. And our group still grows.
That's right.
My son is licensed. So both me and my wife die. Well, we're going to die at some point. But both of us die. My 4 kids are getting our money. My granddaughter
Uh,
graduates college next month, and she's getting licensed before she starts her career. Because when my 4 kids die, my grandkids will get our money.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
that's why I did this.
It's an asset, and it is inheritable. And this
I
is
have I have a 10 million
generational wealth.
I have a
What
$10 million annuity right now.
both my kids are also getting licensed. My son's graduating high school, so he can't take his test till he's actually has a
Right.
diploma. He looked at this when he was 16 and he was like, he said, screw, he didn't use that word. He said, screw the client you're at right now. That's a $500,000. You're leaving money on the table. You need to launch your EXP business. It is really the best kept secret. What do you think? So you're the solo
Yeah.
agent who's looking at their business right now. And, most people join, I think most people really join, not because they're unhappy where they are, but they see this opportunity and realize they didn't know it existed. What would you say to those people who are,
Yeah. Well, the first thing is, again, proximity, especially if you're the top agent at your brokerage. I'll give you an example. The guy I'm talking to right now is thinking about joining with Sotheby's, top agent in our county. He paid his broker $215,000 each year the last 3 years. I'm like, what did you get for that? There's nothing. He goes, I don't even go to the office. I haven't been in the office in 2 years. He goes, I'll go. I mean, he goes and he picks up a check. But he goes, I don't go to meetings, but he's also can't go to the next level. He doesn't have proximity. I said earlier, proximity. He doesn't have access to people. Like the cool thing about EXP is we're such a collaborative group, a company. And a lot of people say, well, if you're in that group, it matters. 50% of my calls were people not in my group. That's such a other brokers, line that they're using, right? The reality is I can call anybody, my agent call anybody in this company. And I'm
that's
not
right,
going to say about out of 89,000 people, I'm sure we have some people that suck. Don't get me wrong, they're not like me,
right,
but everybody I've met so far who's top like I am are full of contribution and abundance. We just give. And we know that's, you give it, you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want, the old Zig Ziglar line, right? And so you think you being the top person in your company, you're at a ceiling. You're not getting a higher split because the broker can't afford it. Most places don't have a cap, right? So you're paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I mean, I paid my broker, $150,000 a year before I started my
same,
broker. Yeah. And I get nothing for it. I didn't go there at all. I went there to pick up checks, right? Um, and then, we have our team mastery program. So if you're a team leader, we have the best team leaders in the country teaching you how to be a better team leader and a profitable team leader. Teams are just as bad as brokerages, by the way. They don't make any money either.
they don't,
Um,
they
we,
don't.
we have retention in place. We retain. Interesting number with EXP that I find really fascinating. People that do 7
Yeah,
transactions or more, we have a 92% or 93% retention rate. People that do 20 transactions or more, we have a 98.5% retention rate. That's unheard of in this industry. Unheard of. So if you really looking to leverage your business, go higher, and then I'm talking about the attraction part. That's only 14% of the people in our company have anybody under them. So when I talk to realtors, we don't talk about that much. Now, if they're entrepreneurs like I am, that's the conversation we have. But most realtors just want to sell more homes. So say you're a new agent listening to this, we have Fast Cap. It's a 6-week intense program that I've had several of my agents go through. The average is 3.9 contracts in 6 weeks for a new agent.
awesome.
Think about that. You have people that don't sell 3 homes their first year.
That's right. That's right.
It's a phenomenon. We have 80 hours a week of education. You know who teaches the education? People like me. People have sold 1,400 homes. People that are selling homes right now at a high level because we get rewarded by EXP with stock for doing stuff like that. So there's such an opportunity. What happens is a lot of the brokerages that are out there, and people tell me this all the time. Well, it's a cloud base. There's no support. Nobody's going to help you. You're going to be by yourself. I'll give you an example. One of our agents, Betty, joined us from Sotheby's in California. She was told she paid her broker $400,000 last year. $400,000, and she's number one in the office. And she came over here now. She's paid and 2 kids at SMU. Right, so in a single mom. Her husband passed away a few years ago, and the amount of money she's saving is paying for her kids' college. She goes, after my husband died, I was going to have to put them in community colleges, local state colleges. She goes, EXP has given me the freedom now to pay for my kids' college. And I always say, if you're paying your broker $100,000 a year, you're giving away your kids' college education. Why are you doing that?
That's right. That's
Now,
right.
if you're getting everything, great. And I hear, oh, I love my broker. I had a lot of people love me, right? I'm a nice guy. But when they found a better opportunity, they left.
That's
So
right.
your broker's the same way. You're only important to your broker as long as you're bringing me money. But once you stop selling houses and you take a break or whatever, or slow down a little bit, you're not that important anymore.
No, it's true.
That's the
I
reality.
call it, yeah, I paid the 130,000,
And I said that question, like, what value am I getting? I
Yeah.
mean, it is
And, if you're a
it,
top producer here in EXP, I don't want this to be an EXP pitch show and help people, but if you're a top producer here, you're paying 16 grand and you're getting it back in stock.
you get it back.
Like
You
all
get
my
it
friends are
back.
at 100%. All my friends are at 100%.
Well, you get 100%, and then you hit a certain level called icon, and you
And
get
you get stock
the
back.
16K back. Actually, EXP pays you more than you pay EXP. I want to talk about, there's you said cloud-based and, all these other things. We have cultural centers, office space, people, leaders, and within EXP have opened up cultural centers and
Yep.
bring agents together in that collaborative spirit that you're talking about. No gatekeeping. I had an agent say to me, "There's no gatekeeping here. I can't believe this." And I was like, "Gatekeeping? Oh my gosh, no!" Because everyone wins, right? Like there's
Yep.
a spirit of collaboration that you just give to each other. There's no competition. I've never seen this in 30 years. I've never
Yeah.
seen this kind of environment in 30 years.
Yeah.
Every
I've coached lots of brokers and teams over the years. I've coached for 20 years. I have never seen anything like this.
no, no, and you're looking at an agent who doesn't know that they'll say, "Oh, I'm at 85," and I'm like, "You paid your broker $98,000 because you're selling $2 million homes. Like,
Right.
do the math, please. You owe it to yourself. It's in your best financial interest to like do the math. You're on a
So,
forever split that
mhm.
doesn't end.
So
And
I tell people, so the guy I was talking about from Sotheby's there pays, he had no idea he paid that much money.
they're only focused on what they make.
Yeah. So if you're a realtor out there listening to this, which you are a realtor listening to this most likely, look at your numbers, right? And I know you love your broker and all that stuff. And by the way, EXP is not I don't look at EXP as a brokerage. It's a business platform, right? That's all it
Right.
is. We have so many tools and stuff, so many lead gen programs, so many things to make you successful. But look at what you're paying and what are you getting for that? Like we pay $85 a month for everything we have.
It's like a $6,000 to $7,000 a month value
Yeah.
you'd have to pay if you went out to get this. In my case, they get another, $18,000 to $30,000 worth of coaching. Like you're giving them exactly. It's the same. It's just a platform. You said it's a platform to grow your business with multiple revenue streams.
Yeah.
And by the way, everybody, like there's no stock at the company you're at. You're not getting stock. You're not getting, there's a 401k plan unless you maybe put one together. Most agents don't do that. I love the part about you talking about you own a crappy job. Can you expound on that? If you're if you're a
Yeah.
broker, yeah,
So being an entrepreneur and and I always taught I was very blessed. I had 5 mentors, my dad and 4 business owners. And they all told me, Mitch, if you work 80 or $100 a week, you'll be successful. And they were 100% right. I was very successful my entire life. But again, didn't see my kids grow up, right? Don't remember much of my growing up. I don't remember from 19 to 60. I don't remember too much. I was always working. And if I wasn't at the office, my phone was ringing nonstop in all my businesses. Well, not in the 80s when we didn't really have cell phones. But so when I decided to write this book and I'm writing a new one called The Big Lie for Entrepreneurs, Stop Chasing Money, Start Chasing Freedom, I realized that I didn't own any businesses. I owned crappy jobs. And what we find in the entrepreneur world is a technician is not a business person, right? So I was a technician. I knew how to do this, whatever this is, right? And I made that into a business, but didn't know how to do marketing, didn't know how to do finances, didn't know how to do anything. Now, after 27 companies, I know how to do a lot. But even up until I was 60, I owned crappy jobs. Now, after understanding this when I turned 60, and then writing my book clarified it all for me, uh, I run 3 companies. I work 25 hours a week. In January of next year, I'm going to cut down to 20 hours a week. And that'll be my retirement. I'll never retire because I love what I do. I have a ball every day. I laugh all day long, every day.
it's the best. You
Yeah,
do. I know that
I do.
about you.
Every
I
day, all
mean,
day.
I remember you saying to me, "I got my health back. I am available for my grandchildren and my kids for lost time." It is the if it's worse than restaurant, owning a restaurant, which I
Yeah,
actually agree with you.
it is.
I'm trying to help agents not do the transaction treadmill. We're only as good as our last sale. What do you get? A plaque or maybe a
Right.
piece of luggage from your company
Maybe.
or some sort of yeah.
If
Like
you're
that.
if you're lucky. My friend retired after 27 years of Remax. He didn't even get a phone call from the broker. Never called him. Same broker for 27 years.
Yeah, it's to me, we heard this analogy a lot, which is it's the Amazon of real estate. I mean, there will probably be 3 real estate companies I believe, in the country. I'm sure you do as
Yeah.
well. There will be just like 3 airlines, there will be 3 brokers.
Yeah.
I believe the future is at a company. It's not just cloud-based. We're not just cloud-based. I know in our market, we have, cultural centers, office space. I'm looked at as the broker manager. I'm not the broker for EXP, but I'm definitely the leader for growing, where I had 800 agents previously, and then nationally. I think there's if if you look at the opportunity, somebody says, "Well, it's not in my market yet." To me, why isn't it in my market? And I say, "What do you say to that?" Besides, it's obviously a
I
great
said
opportunity.
that's the opportunity.
Yeah,
There's lots of agents waiting for you to open up that market. And by the way, you do not have to have an office. I happen to have an office because I like it. I'll tell you a really funny story about that in a second.
yeah.
But the reality is when I came in and got into the business, there wasn't anybody here yet. So I have 140 agents just locally. You know
Okay.
how many come to my office? Zero, zero, never. I have 2 offices actually. Zero come to my office. I only do it because I own the buildings and why not?
Mhm.
It's a right.
Yeah.
Um, And so, how I acquired this building was kind of funny. So this guy, Greg, was the broker for 20, owned this building for 20 years, had his own brokerage, little, 6 agents. And I ran him to at the grocery store. I said, Greg, you should come talk to me about joining EXP. He goes, buy my building. I will. And I go, okay. I bought his building. It's 1 minute from my house. Like I live right down the street from my house.
That is fantastic. And he joined
Yeah.
DXP.
Yeah. He's been with us for 4 years now.
It's a hard pill to swallow. When I have conversations with brokers about they don't have a succession plan, they don't have an exit plan, they have no idea this. I believe it's a parachute to come save them. I really do. I have
It's a lifeline question.
thousands of brokers that need this. And you talked before we got on, about sometimes it's hard for people with their ego.
Right.
I owned a 7-figure coaching company, and I said, I don't care. Like, I'm not like it's not about um when we join this and we partner here, it's the bigger goal. But some brokers have, what will I be? What will my identity? Did you have that same feeling, and how'd you get
Oh,
over
that
it?
that that was a huge part of it for me. Again, my ego, your ego is not my ego, right? My ego, I'm 5'6", so my ego was 7'2". Um, but it's your identity. I was known as Mitch is the broker of Tropical Really, this big real estate for I was the biggest real estate brokerage here. And Mitch is the guy. Look at him go. That's such a powerful thing. I had and I think that's a hard thing, but because you get to keep your name, you get to keep your identity. Just look at us as an operating system. I don't look at us as you giving your brokerage away. This is an operating system. I talked to a broker recently up in New Jersey, 350 agents, made $104,000 last year. What are you doing? And here's the most important part. You're working 100 hours a week to do that, right? And when you're not working, by the way, your phone's still ringing. And it's never like, Mitch, you're like the best guy in the world. I love you. It's right all day long. And so here's what I want you to do. If you're a top producer, if you're a broker, I want you to do what I do every day. I look in the mirror every day and I have a really honest conversation with myself because it's really easy for us to lie to ourselves. Actually, I use the word rationalize to ourselves. And this came about because of my mirror conversation. Look into your eyes and ask yourself, are you truly happy? Truly happy, not faking happy. I faked happy for a lot of years. Truly happy. Ask yourself if what you're doing is sustainable. And then I want you to ask one more question to yourself. Are you being a good father or mother? Are you being a good parent? Are you being a good brother, good sister, good son, good daughter? You're not. You're not. I was that guy. So you can't lie to me about it because I know your life too well. And the most important job you have is mom and dad. When you get a little older, I know you hot shots out there, 40 years old, don't think like this. But when you get to be a little bit older, I don't want you to wake up at 60 years old like I did and regret almost everything I did in my life.
Well, you're making up for it now, and what a difference. Happiness it's a tricky thing.
Yeah.
You can't go to
Yeah.
Nordstrom and buy it for 200 grand. I'll tell you, I was very lucky. Early on, when I was doing about 15 million a year as a solo agent, my mentor said to me, "Do as I say, not as I do." And she said,
Right.
"I have to feed all those people." She looked at me, Mitch, and she said, "You make more money than I do." At
Right.
15 million to her 30 million on a team. And so I've been coaching teams. We blow teams up. They're not profitable. you think that's what you want, right? The ego says do 100 million. But if you're only making 100 grand at the end of the day, like I have solo agents, solo agents in your organization, they're making $1 million,
Yeah.
right? And they have
I've
a
been in
life.
team those, yeah.
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 It's so important. I love the fact that you help people realize that they can get rid of cost, liability, day-to-day operations, and have a way out. I mean, that's
Yeah.
truly
And here's
right.
the cool part when I talk to people is I'm good. I make plenty of money between EXP and my title companies. Um, and so when people join with me, I don't make a lot of money individually off of them.
No,
It doesn't change my life. My life is
that's right.
awesome. Wicked awesome, as we say in Boston. Extremely wicked awesome. However, I know I can change their lives. And it does.
Such a
EXP changed my life. And I don't, look, I did not have this whole vision of what I was going to be. I said, well, if I had 500 agents, if I make 20 grand a month, I'd be a happy guy. And here I am making much more than that and living a life that I only dreamed of as a broker. I tell people I'm living the life I thought I was going to get as a broker. I'm living that now.
yeah. Well, it's a great story, and it's I can't wait for the second book to come out, The Big Lie for Entrepreneurs. Where can people find The Big Lie right now? The book you wrote already.
It's on Amazon. Just type in my name, Mitch Ribak, at the Amazon. Or honestly, if you send me an email, I'll give you a free PDF if I don't care.
You're
I'm not.
amazing.
I didn't write the book to make money off the book. I wrote the book to change lives, to teach
Well, you're
people.
changing lives. Yeah, you're changing lives. I'm so grateful I met you in Miami of 2024. I had not met you before, and wow, what you've completely helped me in so many ways. And I know we're going to do a lot of great things. This is just the beginning. I believe there's a huge bull run and mass amount of. I think the largest amount of people haven't joined yet. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
One thing to understand on the numbers, which is really interesting. I had this conversation with my people this week. Only 10% of realtors are in a cloud-based brokerage.
Yeah.
What happens when 20% are? That means we all double. And and people look at well, what about all the competition? I don't look at the competition.
No.
I look at you as a human being and say, how can I help you achieve success with freedom? That's it. This is whether you're new, whether you're experienced, whether you're a top producer, a broker, or a team leader. This is the best move I've ever made in my life. This is coming from a chronic entrepreneur. I have never seen anything as good as this in my entire life. So I'm here.
Well, I would second that and tell you I'm excited and grateful that we get to be partners in this journey together. And you're just such a delight. You're going to help so many people. You already are. And if you're listening to this, all of the ways to get a hold of Mitch on social will be linked to this podcast episode. And as he said, he'll be happy to send you a PDF of his book, The Big Lie. This has been so inspiring. And will you come back? I want to have you back on the show again.
Anytime.
Awesome. We're going to do great things.
Let me play my guitar on first.
Next time you are. Next time you definitely are. And Mitch, thank you. Thank you for everything. And keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait for the next chapter. I can't wait for the next book. And I'm excited and grateful I got to know you so early on in my journey at EXP.
Everything's meant to be the way it's supposed to be.
It is. Right? It is. Well, thanks again. And everybody, leave us a review and check in and connect with Mitch Ribak. Get in touch with Mitch and leave us a review. And guys, look at the numbers.
I like that slogan, get rich with Mitch.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just called, this is so great. And if you're a broker owner and you're out there struggling, you're looking at what are my options? Reach out to one of us. We're happy to have a conversation. No pressure. Just talk to you about what does it look like to have true freedom. You've said that throughout this entire podcast. So thank you. God bless you. I can't wait to see you in person, and we'll talk soon. Everybody, go have a great week. You have a listing or sale this week. You just don't know the address. I'm Sherri Johnson, your host. You rock, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.